Hi, Alistair from Edmunds here with the new Audi RS6 GT. I think this is a $200,000 bargain, and here's why. It's a family car with enough room for the kids and a couple of dogs, or a unicorn if you prefer. It's a performance car with 621 horsepower manually adjustable suspension, and it's a limited edition collector's piece. Just 85 will be coming to the US. But is it any good? Let's find out. We're on the streets of Willow Track in Southern California, and if you'd ever fancied buying a race circuit, this is currently up for sale. The whole complex is for, well, take your pick. Tens of millions of dollars probably, but hey, how many opportunities are there like this in life? So what does this RS6 feel like on this tight and pretty twiddly circuit? The reality is, pretty damn good. We'll get back on the track in a moment, but first, what is the GT? How do you go from this, a standard RS6 performance, to this? Well, it actually began life as a pet project for Audi's apprentices in Germany back in 2020. They came up with a concept called the RS6 GTO, and it was supposed to remain a concept, but then someone had the bright idea to build it, and here we are. So what's changed? Well, you get a new chin spoiler down here, and surprisingly, for the first time on an Audi, a carbon fibre hood, and it's nice that they've left some of it exposed here. They've also used carbon for these new front fenders, which include this little slot here, which helps cool the brakes, particularly on a circuit. The brakes themselves, they are carbon ceramic as standard, but these wheels, they're not carbon, they're forged aluminum. A bit more carbon here, a bit more carbon down the side, and at the rear end, the big changes are to this biplane rear wing and to this pretty elaborate new rear diffuser. One other little feature that you might not have noticed is this. On the standard car, the air comes down and then hits a kind of 90-degree section here. This, they put an extra bit of plastic in here just to smooth the airflow. Nice attention to detail. We should talk about the colour scheme. Now, this was inspired by Audi's super successful IMSA racer from 1990, which is actually hiding just over there. In Europe, you get a choice of 5 different colours, some of which are a bit more demure, but here in the US, we're only getting the full-fat white version, which is probably fantastic for the local cars and coffee, but me, I'd be a bit self-conscious down the local Whole Foods. Feel like you'd need to be in your race suit. What hasn't changed, though, is the RS6's fantastic versatility and practicality. There's as much room in the trunk as you get in Audi's SUVs, and you can see plenty of room for a large dog or even a large unicorn. Couldn't quite afford the dog. One other thing I should call out, the new coilover suspension is actually manually adjustable. Audi's developed this rather nice little kit. You have to jack the car up and then use these little tools here to adjust the dampers through one of 3 different clicks. So if you want to be pretty uncomfortable on the road, you can go full stiff setting, or if you're out on a track like today, then it's probably going to be just about ideal. So there you go. Let's have a look inside. One thing I forgot to mention when we were talking about the exterior, this is the first RS6 not to have roof rails, and that combined with the new suspension, which lowers the whole car by 0.4 of an inch, gives it a much more hunkered aesthetic. Personally, I think it looks fantastic. Inside, the changes are more minimal. There's plenty of badging, including this little moniker here on the center console, which tells you which of the 660 editions you personally own. This is actually pre-production, so it's 000. It's in a German spec, but in America, this Alcantara will be replaced with a matte weave carbon fiber. And sadly, these fabulous carbon buckets will also not make it onto production cars over here, because apparently, and I know this is very hard to believe, American asses are actually wider than European bottoms. Who knew? Let's go for a drive. I remember driving early versions of the RS6, and they always felt quite big and cumbersome. This feels much more lithe and agile. I don't know whether that's just because I drive so many EVs and so many SUVs these days, or whether Audi's really sorted this out. The steering has a nice precision. It's very kind of linear in its feel. Carbon ceramic brakes have Pretty good feel actually for carbon ceramic systems, and you can really place the car on the circuit. Gearbox works well too, and it sounds good. 110 miles an hour, down on the brakes, trail brake it in. Since slightly banked, we can use the centrifugal force a little bit, turn in a little bit later, tightens up a little bit. You start to feel that mass a little bit and the front end starting to push. It's hard to think of a family car that's this much fun. This thing is properly rapid as it always has been, but it does have a newfound agility. You can really start to throw it around. There's a lot of panache about it. There's something very, very cool about a fast wagon, particularly one that can handle a circuit like this. In order to cope with the new coilover suspension, Audi's also uprated some of the other components. The front stabilizer bar is 30% stiffer than before, and the one at the rear is a full 80% stiffer. They've also retuned the rear diff in a bid to make it feel more agile. This car can actually throw 85% of its torque to the rear wheels when necessary. What hasn't changed though is the engine. Still a 4-litre V8 with 2 turbochargers developing 621 horsepower and 626 pounds-feet of torque. Audi reckons it's a tenth faster from 0 to 60, now 3.2 seconds, and they've increased the top speed, should you care, to 190 miles an hour. The gearbox, of course, is an 8-speed Tiptronic automatic, no double clutch system in this RS6. Given its price tag, this car competes with high-performance SUVs like Porsche's awesome Cayenne Turbo GT and Audi's own RS Q8, but they lack that cool factor of the Wagon, that low center of gravity, just the way that it makes you feel. No SUV can ever match that. In the next couple of years, there's going to be something of a high-performance wagon fest here in the US. The BMW M5 wagon is just around the corner, and the Mercedes AMG E-Class wagon isn't too far away either. But both of those will be plug-in hybrids. They'll have more power, 717 horsepower in the case of the BMW, but they will be brutally heavy. We already know that the M5 sedan is more than 500 pounds heavier than this car, and let's face it, this is no lightweight. So they will be quite different to this Audi, which, for now at least, remains something of a unicorn. See what I did there? So, what about the GT? Well, objectively, it's hard to say it's worth about $50,000 more than the already excellent RS6 performance. But that's not really the point. You're buying this car for the exclusivity, the fact that you got something that little bit different, and why not? I really hope that dealers aren't going to charge too much markup given the limited numbers. I'm a family man with 2 small kids, and right now I can't think of a better car for me than one of these, if only I had 200,000 bucks. And on that depressing note, we'll say goodbye for now. If you liked what you've seen, please subscribe to the channel and check out everything that Edmunds.com has to offer. Goodbye for now.